Welcome, everybody. How's it going? Happy May Day. May Day. Hi, Caroline. How's everybody doing? The sun's shining. That's a great thing. I think you can see it behind me. The sun's beaming its beautiful energy on us. Hello. Happy birthday, Anna. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Nathan. How's everybody doing? Mia's showing me the time. I just started. I already know the time right now. Someone's asking, what are we doing? We're going to be making, it's May Day. So we're going to be making May flowers. And I'm going to give you a little history on May Day if you don't know the history. But I used to do this when I was young, and even we were reminiscing of last year when I had a beautiful cone of flowers hung on my front door, on my front doorknob, and with a little note, but it doesn't tell you who it is, but I knew it was my mom because that's something she would do. I knew it was her. And but May Day is the first day of May. It's always the first day of May. So May 1st is May Day. And so today is May Day. Happy May Day. And I knew a little bit about it, of course. Like I remember leaving little baskets on someone's front porch of flowers that were either made or picked in a little basket or a cone. And you leave them on the door, on the front knob or on the front porch, and you knock on the doorknob, or I'm not sorry, not on the doorknob. You knock on the door, and then you run away. And you're supposed to yell, Mayday! And the legend or folklore behind May Day is that you're supposed to run away, and after you leave the flowers for someone, and then if you get caught, you're supposed to give a kiss to the person that you gave the flowers to. And if you don't get caught, you just kind of run away and disappear and leave flowers. And it's just a nice gesture, kind of a fun thing that spring has happened. And when I was reading about it, there's actually so many different cultures that celebrate this and different reasons. But it all starts out with astrology, which I thought was super interesting. And I guess it's the exact time in between the equinox and the summer solstice. And that's today. And it also has to do with agriculture because they would do ceremonies and kind of celebrations where they'd even put like yellow flower crowns on probably dandelions, because that's all we have right now for flowers, which I love. I love a good dandelion. Some people call it a weed. I still see it as a beautiful flower. Ms.A. does not like them in his lawn. I will tell you that. So he appreciated when I was picking them today. He's like, from the root too. Pull the whole thing out. I'm like, okay. Don't worry about it. I'm just making beautiful flower arrangements. I'm not worried about your weeds, Ms.A. Anyway, so we're going to make 3D flowers, and we're going to make cones that you can either leave on your front porch, you can leave it on your door and knock and then run away and just leave a special present or surprise for your own family, or a neighbor or grandma if you're somewhere near them. Obviously, we're not going that many places, so it has to be someone who's near you, and including your own family. Just do it to your own family. So today we're going to make 3D flowers. I'm going to show you how to make 3 different styles of flowers. There are tons more that you can do with either your own imagination and your own creativity, or you can look online and they have templates that you can kind of actually cut around that style leaf in different sizes and step-by-step directions to create your own flower. And after we make ours, I feel like your own imagination is going to start making some of your own flowers as well. And let me show you really quickly what that is. So this is something that you would make. This is what we're going to make today. So we're going to make, hopefully you can see this. I did a cone. You could do a basket too. They call them May baskets, or they're sometimes in a cone like this. And I did attach some twine or yarn or string, or you could even use dental floss, anything that, old shoelace, anything that you could use so that you can hang it. And if you don't have yarn or something like that today, you could also make the whole thing and then just lay it on someone's front porch and do the old runaway, kind of like a ding-dong ditch. I don't know if everyone knows what that is. You guys are younger. All your parents know ding-dong ditch. You shouldn't know that because it's not necessarily the most positive thing. But but it is if you're leaving beautiful flowers. Okay, and then this is one that I just kind of made my own flower arrangement. Hope you can see. I just picked some of my ferns and the evergreens, and of course, the ever so beautiful dandelion. And so we're going to make a cone today, and then we're going to make paper flowers, but you could also go on a cool scavenger hunt later today in your own yard and do some weed control, do some seasonal debris control, pick up some twigs and some dandelions, some weeds that you might want to make into a beautiful arrangement like this and leave for someone as a special kind of gift and thoughtful gesture for May Day. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get started. I'm kind of checking out this thing. Love your art. Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are so fun. I'm glad you're all here. And some funny messages, especially you, Sophia, last week. Or not last week, but Wednesday this week, but a day ago. And you're so funny with after I archive it, I watch it back before I post it on YouTube, and I can read all the comments that I don't see or I might miss while I'm doing the lesson. And Sophia, you're so funny because you didn't have all the materials, but you still stuck with us. You watched what was going on. I love that. And I love that right now I see that you're saying you love dandelions. I do too. And don't forget my other business, my vintage kind of restore, renew, beautify, make old things loved again business is called Urban Dandelions. So since we live in the city, most dandelions are urban, right? Because we are in an urban place by definition. Anyway, so I'm going to turn the camera. You guys know how it works. Welcome back. I'm glad that you're here to create with us. Hopefully you did get the template that I posted both on Instagram and emails to all my students. I did post templates. If you didn't get it or you didn't print it or you don't have a printer, I'm going to show you how to hand draw it yourself. The template's just fun for mass producing multiple leaves. So if you don't have that, do not fret. You can still create with us today. I'm glad you're here. And happy birthday, Anna. Happy birthday. 10 double digits. That's what I'm talking about, girl. Love that. Miss your cute face. Okay, so I'm kind of moving the camera already, or the tripod already. Cover. Hi, Caroline. Hi, Timmy. Okay, I'm going to move the camera without totally knocking everything over. We'll see how that goes. Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm going to still turn that more. Maybe I'm going to bring this in more. That's what I need to do. Okay, that's just showing my dress. That is not showing. I need to turn this and come down. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to bring you in just a little bit more, Mr. Tripod. And I think we are pretty good. So, here we go. Okay, let me grab my stool. Let's start creating, people. Let's do it. Well, I'm glad you guys are all here. The materials today were any kind of colored paper, even just scraps, like things like this, any kind of colored paper. If you do not have colored paper and you just have basic white kind of printer paper, that's totally fine. You can add color to this by coloring each petal or just the tips of the petal with marker, watercolor, crayon, anything you want. You can also just make white flowers too and make a beautiful white flower arrangement. But I'm going to show you all of that as well too. So either way, whether you have scraps with colors or you have just plain white paper, you're still going to be able to make some beautiful 3D flowers with us today. So this is what I sent you. And I also posted like on Instagram and stuff too. It's just a little sheet that you could have printed that had templates of the shapes of at least one kind of flower. If you notice, it's basically a heart and the bottom is just kind of cut off in that little V part that's just cut off in a straight part. So if you don't have this, you obviously can draw a heart also. So it's the same thing. So do not worry if you didn't print this or you don't have it. It was just kind of a guideline. It makes it a little easier for some people, especially our younger artists. But either way, it's totally fine. You don't need this, but I did attach this in my emails and my posts on social media. So if you have it and you haven't cut these templates out, you can. I would start with the petals, really the leaves, the kind of greenery, that kind of stuff obviously could easily be done freehand. There's not really a need to have a template, but I did attach it just for my perfectionist. So I did go ahead and I kind of cut out some templates, not even very nicely, honestly. It's kind of embarrassing, but still I did cut out templates just to show you if you did. And so what you want to do is grab a piece of paper, because we're going to start by making, first thing we're going to make is this style flower. It's almost kind of like rose-like in a way. It has this pretty, can you see that center? And if you can use to attach today a glue stick. You can use liquid glue. These two, especially liquid glue, are going to take, I should turn those on, so that they're going to take a little more time to tack or hold time to dry. And I'm going to show you a little kind of trick that you can use a paper clip or a binder kind of clip like this while it's drying, just to hold it in place. You can do that. If you have a glue gun of some kind, those of course are going to work great for today. So if you do have a glue gun, make sure that if you are younger, that you have an adult or an older sibling helping you, because of course everyone knows if you've used a glue gun before, they do get super hot, and you definitely can get burnt. It's a kind of a temporary burn, but it is 100% something. Paper cuts and glue gun burns happen to an art teacher on a daily basis. They're definitely something that can happen at any time. At any time, people. I'm so used to them at this point. But if you are younger and you're using a glue gun, please make sure that someone is helping you. We don't want anyone getting burned. So I'm going to start with just some white paper, just because that's what most people have. If you have the template, you can go ahead and trace. I'm going to start with a larger leaf. It's really just a heart with the bottom cut off. And I'm going to actually show you. I should do it in marker, actually. Let me grab a marker. If you're doing this yourself, it's something... Oops. I want more of a chiseled marker. I'm so particular, guys. I'm going to go ahead and just do a heart like this, and then cut off the bottom just in a flat piece like this. And you can do something similar. You can completely freehand all of these if you wanted to, and it would totally work. You can also, I did it in marker so you can see it, but I would really do this in pencil, just because you don't want all your marker lines showing up on your beautiful flowers later. So as we make our first style three-dimensional flower, I'm going to start tracing different shapes, or just freehand drawing them. I'm going to trace one now too, just so people can see. And if you're just making this first flower, you need 4. If you're actually using the template, you need 4 of that larger one and 2 of the smaller size. Let me show you what that means. So there was, on that template page, there was, whoops, oh my goodness, I dropped it on the ground. Hold on a second. Can't even reach it. Okay, there we go. So if you use my template, there was 3 sizes. There was the large, the medium, and then the tiny little small guy. So there's 3 sizes. For this first flower, we're just going to use the largest and medium. If you're free drawing this and just freehanding it, just draw 4 petals that are about the same size, and then draw 2 that are slightly smaller in that same kind of heart with the flat bottom shape. Now, if you want, you could just draw a heart and then draw a line through the bottom too. That's fine, and then just cut it that way. Once you go ahead and draw all your hearts or your shapes, I shouldn't call them hearts, petals. On this one, you're going to go ahead and carefully cut them out. If it's easier to break up your pieces, because for me it is, remember, you always want to cut away from you. So I kind of divide my petals separately so that I can go ahead and slowly and carefully cut this out without having all that excess paper that is getting in my way. So that's one petal right now, okay? Perfect. I'm going to cut out a second one. Okay. Beautiful. Does not have to be perfect, okay? Just this kind of shape. And they don't all have to be exactly the same. If you're using the template, they probably are going to be similar, but you don't have to. Can you cut out multiple petals at the same time? Absolutely. Okay, you can definitely have your paper stacked and have 2 or 3 sheets of paper maybe. And then maybe I'm going to take mine and draw just a couple more. Here's another shape. There's another petal. Here's a bigger petal. And I'm just kind of doing the hearts. I don't know if you can even see this because of the pencil, but I'm just going to go ahead and draw some big ones. And look at this one's not even very nice. Can you see that? It's not even right. But when I cut it, I'm going to go ahead. So now I have a few pieces of paper that are connected together so that I can cut out more than one petal at once, which is convenient because certain flowers need more petals than others to have that kind of realistic feel. And remember, we're going to be making these flat pieces of paper, these two-dimensional. They're 2D, they're flat. It only has 2 sides. It's just one side, 2 sides, flat. We're going to be making these two-dimensional flower or shapes into 3D, 3-dimensional flowers. 3D means that it has height, width, and length, okay? So you can see it from all different sides. So we're going to be making, it's not just drawn on a flat piece of paper, we're actually making a 3-dimensional one. And you see how I just glued that to an old pencil? You're going to see, that's why I said we need old pencils or sticks or different things, because we needed something for a stem when we put in the cone. I'll show you that later. But here I go. I'm going to keep cutting. I'm going to divide these again just to make it easier when I cut. Oops. Then grab both my pieces of paper. Okay, and I'm just going to cut out some more petals. And like I said, do they have to be exactly the same? No. Keep all these scraps of paper that, like this excess kind of paper, we are going to be using that to add little details to our flowers or centerpieces. So you can use all those little scraps that you might normally recycle. We're going to use all those bad boys today. Okay, let me get some more. I'm going to do one more here. Get my pages together. So I'm doing one on white just so that I can show you. If you have colored paper today, even newspaper could be so fun to do it with, really, like anything. An old book that no one, like maybe you've been cleaning out your room and you have old books and you're going to donate them, but you can't donate right now, and you want to take some pages out of a book and use those for your artwork. How cool would that be with all the text and font on it? Love that, okay? So now, once you get a petal like this, the first thing you're going to do is you need to, and I'm going to show you this step by step. Remember, if you're using glue stick, you're going to have a pretty good hold time. You're going to be able to work quickly. If you're using a liquid glue like this, it's going to take longer to tack and dry. So I recommend doing each petal individually until you start assembling it, because then you'll have time to put this all together. Hey, Mimi, can you turn all my lights on? Mia. Hello, hola, hola. Can you turn my lights on, baby girl? Thank you. She's so funny when she's here with me. She's always like, I don't want to miss your class, but she's like in La world with headsets and all sorts of technology stuff around her. Who knows what she's doing? So I took my petal and I did make kind of a flap. I went and I cut about halfway up. The reason why is I'm going to take these 2 tabs, these 2 pieces, I'm going to fold one over and glue and attach them together. First, I'm going to do one with a glue stick, just so you can kind of have an idea. So just take your glue stick, go ahead and apply some glue right on the one spot, and you're going to take those, overlap them, and now your petal has almost become cupped, almost, right? Do you see that? Like it's kind of more 3-dimensional already, being not flat. And you see the glue stick actually dries pretty well. So if you have a glue stick, that's definitely the way to go. Unless you have a glue gun, you could have glued that with a glue gun. If you have liquid glue, you're going to take this, okay? you're going to do the same thing. Slice it down one section. You're going to take just a dot, not a lot. And go ahead and do a little tiny dab of glue. Hold on, if I can get my glue to come out. My goodness. Oh, I got to squeeze this bad boy. Holy Toledo. Okay. And I put a little dot right there. I'm going to hold that over. Now, of course, if I let go of that, it's going to move. Do you see how it starts sliding? So what I would do, if you have just liquid glue only, take something like a binder clip like this, and you're going to hold it and let it start drying. Or if you have a regular kind of paper clip, you can also just clip that on and allow it to kind of have time, that hold time or that tack time, and just put it to the side while it dries. So you can do it with liquid glue. It will take a little bit longer, but you know what? Some of the best work in the world takes a little bit longer. So there you go. So just put a little clip or something like that on it. Okay. If you're using a glue stick, remember it already stuck, so you're good to go. And if you're using a glue gun, as you know, that has almost an immediate tack time. So if I use a glue gun, I'm just going to go ahead and take this, put a little dab of glue from my glue gun. Whoops. And this fancy, I have a fancy glue gun, guys. Cordless, people. Cordless. Mind-blowing. Awesome. Remember, with a glue gun, it is hot, so you got to be careful. But I just kind of glued that. So I'm going to keep going with my petals. I'm going to take each petal as I cut them, make a slice down it. I'm going to go ahead and take those two pieces, overlapping them and attaching them no matter what kind of glue I may be using. I'm definitely going to use the glue gun for the rest of the lesson just so that you can see how it all works together because it dries so quickly. If you don't have a glue gun, remember you easily can still do this. It's just a little more time consuming, okay? So keep going and you're cupping each petal, okay? So I'm going to keep going. Take another one. Just keep doing this. Hold on. Do you guys see this? Cordless. Hello, people. That's like, for an art person, that's like the best thing that's happened in years. Years, guys. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting innovation. Anyway, so here we go. Same thing. Just keep going. I'm going to do some of my smaller ones, just so I have some smaller petals. If you have any kind of pencil marks or anything on your, from tracing your template or just drawing it before you cut it, you might want to glue it so that the pencil lines are on the side you don't see. So we're going to keep going. Do this. All right. Now, oops. Ooh, ow, 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 ow. Hot. You got to be careful, people. Glue guns are hot. In case you didn't know. I did know. And they got me. Every time. Every time. Anyway, so now I'm going to take two petals. This is what you want to do. Once you have some cupped, and if you are not as, you know, I'm going pretty fast. So if you're not going as quickly as me, especially if you don't have a glue gun, just take your time and then kind of follow along. You can always go back and watch this later on Instagram for the next 24 hours. Or, of course, I post it on YouTube as well. So you can go back and watch it. So now, if I want to attach these, I'm going to put a little bit of glue, whether it's glue stick or not, right in one cup. And I'm going to attach those two together. So I have two, almost like a little butterfly, okay? And they're kind of cupped. Do you see this? See that angle? It is like a butterfly. Look how cute that is. And then I'm going to take two more of that same larger size. And first I'm going to attach those to each other. So I'm going to take one and another one. I'm going to do the same thing. Here we go. Okay, two, another little butterfly. Oh, I got a glue gun strand. And now I'm going to almost make it like a 4-leaf clover. And I'm going to cross the two. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue either on the bottom of those two or right in the center here. And I'm going to attach those together. So now I have 4 of my larger leaf pattern, all, or petal pattern, I should say petal, all glued together. It kind of makes this shape like that. Now I'm going to take a couple of my smaller ones. I do have some other large ones, but I'm going to leave them to the side right now. If I wanted to make it really full, you know what? Let's just do it just because I have them. I'm going to add another dab right here. Add that in. And then add another dab of glue inside here. Remember, if this is liquid glue, you just have to let it dry longer. You might even have to sit and hold it and count to like 100 or something and let that just tack enough that you can add the next piece, okay? So now I have a bunch. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 big ones and then 2 other big ones inside. Now I'm going to take a couple of my smaller size petals and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little dab of glue in there. I'm going to stick that guy in and I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick this guy in. Now I'm starting to get the idea of the flower, but I haven't curled it or done anything with the actual structure. Whoops, glue everywhere. Of it yet, except for attaching all the pieces. Okay, almost looks like a beautiful lotus, maybe a water lily. Very pretty, very Monet inspired looking. May Day. Okay, so now if I have this, I might also want to add something in the center. If you notice, a lot of the flowers I made, I did put little things in the center. Okay, so you have some kind of pollen cuteness. So any kind of scrap, if you want to use colored paper now, or if you're only using white paper, that's fine too. You can also color the paper first. Maybe you had all white paper and you wanted to take a marker and just kind of add some color on the part of the petal. Maybe not even coloring the whole thing. You can easily do that. Maybe just go around the top edge, something like this. You can also take that with a paintbrush, add a little water and give that cool watercolor effect from the water-based marker, which is going to make your flowers even more delightful. Oops, almost lost my paintbrush. Okay, something like that. See how it kind of bled from the water. You can take the same thing, slice down the center, put a tiny dab, a little dot, just a dot, not a lot, and go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to stick my glue gun back on its hub over there. And same thing, I did go ahead and just make the same kind of cupped flower petal, adding a little color before. And you can do that too. If you didn't add it first, you can add it later too, no problem. So now I'm going to take some scraps. So I'm going to take maybe a little, I have some hot pink. This time I'm just going to cut strips. These are just scraps. Anything, even if they're not perfect, doesn't matter. I'm going to take this and I'm going to use all these little scraps. I'm going to take those together. And these are all just long strips of paper. Fold them in half. Okay. And I'm going to even like kind of crinkle them up, give them kind of a little, oops, I lost a piece. Just a kind of fun little texture for the flower inside of the center. And then maybe go ahead and take some glue. Let me get my glue gun again. Again, remember, you can use any kind of glue. Just your hold time might be a little bit longer. I, of course, am using the glue gun just for convenience of time today. And I went ahead and added my center of my flower. Now, every time you make a flower, what you do want to do is I like to kind of take the inside petals right at the tip where the 2 rainbows, the 2 tops of the heart meet. I kind of like to pinch them a little in those spots. So let me get this glue piece out. So I'm going to take that and just kind of pinch it. I'm going to take those and pinch them. So I'm just kind of adding a little. You can kind of manipulate your paper to go in these fun kind of more 3-dimensional realistic ways by just kind of folding and bending. So right now I just folded, which is actually very beautiful. What a beautiful flower this is already. And then I'm going to take either a paintbrush or a pencil, or you can take a glue stick, or whatever you have going on, a marker, and you're going to take it and you're going to go ahead and roll. Look what I'm doing. I'm going to carefully roll. I'm going to carefully take the tops of my paper and roll the tops of my flowers, just gently enough to create that kind of beautiful, kind of curved, floral, organic edge. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead. Same thing, I'm going to take my pencil. Everyone has a pencil, so I know that's why I'm going to use that. And just go around. After I folded that little crease, I'm going to go around and on all of my petals, I'm going to slowly and carefully try not to rip your paper. If your paper is thinner, it will definitely still work. If your paper is super thick, like you have some kind of scrap book kind of paper, that kind of fancy cardstock, it does work, but it is a little more difficult to get your paper to bend. But those are obviously, if you do have fancy paper like that, those can turn out to be some of the most beautiful flowers you ever saw in your life. So just depends. You just got to take a little different time with it. Anyway, so that's my first flower. Now, if I had white, if I wanted to use just straight up regular watercolors, I can. I could take a brush and maybe here's something fun you could do. Like take your brush. Let me actually take this guy. This is a nice brush for this. And maybe I just want to add some color on it. I'm going to go ahead and take this. Of course, you could just paint the tips of your flower, of course, something like that, where you kind of just slowly add color. I'm going to do that, where I'm just going to add some of that pretty lighter orange yellow color on it, just on the tips. You could also take your paint and do one, but if you do this, make sure that you have a nice area where you're not making a mess. In a gentle way, you can kind of do a pretty flick with your paint and add beautiful kind of just like a little textured pattern in your flower, which is, look how beautiful that is, gorgeous. You can do something like that. Make sure that you're being careful not to make it a total mess. If you had some of that liquid watercolor that we've made so many times out of our, remember this, out of our old markers and things like that, or food coloring, you can do the same thing. If you have some of the pump watercolor spray that we use, well, and lots of stuff now, but we originally made for our graffiti, you can use some of that, and you can just do a fun couple. You're going to have to let it dry, but if you do a few pumps of that, look how gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful flower. Now, after you make a flower, you are going to need to attach it, just like all of these that I have in here. I attach like this one to a wire. You could use from an old hanger, or if you have wire around, or a paper clip that you unbend, you can definitely glue, just like I did here. I just glued a little bit on. Now, if you're using liquid glue, you have to hold on to it for a while. You could also use tape. You can use masking tape and just tape it on. Here's another one of those like kind of dollar store birthday present kind of school prize pencils. But you can just glue it onto an old pencil. And you can, of course, still reuse these pencils. You're not ruining anything. Here's another one with just a pencil. Here's another one with a wire. Here's one that I attached. I just went outside and grabbed some twigs and sticks. So while I was cleaning up my yard of dandelions, I also just grabbed a stick and put a flower right on the end of that. So any kind of pipe cleaner, wire, whatever you might have, you can attach, pencil, any of these goodies you can attach on the bottom that go into your cone later for your May Day surprise. Okay, so that's one flower. I want to show you a couple more flowers, so I'm going to kind of work quickly. One thing that you might want to do, where's my green at? Where's my green, baby? Before we make a flower, let's make a petal. So just with some scrap, you can use the template I gave you, or you can literally just cut out some leaves, which are pretty simple. You could draw it first, but it does not have to be perfect. Look at this one's even a little sloppy, but I bet it's going to be amazing. And all you do with that is go ahead and fold it lengthwise down the long way like this. Same thing here. And if I want to, I would attach these glue. I'd take the back side of my flower. So here's my flower, but I'm going to use the other side. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there. And I'm going to attach a leaf right on there. And I'm going to actually do one more. I'm going to put a little glue on my leaf. And add that on like that. So now I have some greenery as well with my beautiful flower. Okay? Oops, my glue was not tacked yet. Hold on a second. Let's do a little count time. There you go. All right. Gorgeous. Okay? So that's our first flower. Next one, and you could also with that one, if you look here, I did make the longer pollen kind of, do you see these two long guys? They're just skinny strips that I stuck in and crinkled the tops. Look at all this glue on my fingers, so silly. Anyway, I crinkled the tops and just made the top, those parts inside the flower too. You can always add all that fun, all those fun details, okay? Next flower is just going to be something simple. You're going to take a piece of paper, whatever. It can be white or color. This time I'm going to go color, just for those of you who have color, whatever you got going. And if you don't have color, remember, just do it in white and add color. That's fine. Could be even some of the most beautiful ones, really. And I'm going to keep going. Hopefully you guys are all have started and you're making flowers. I can see that my feed is kind of stuck. So if you're writing something to me, I'm kind of looking, but I don't see any new stuff. It's not moving. I don't know why that happens, but it happens sometimes on my lessons. So I just cut out a circle, which is a very sad looking circle. It does not have to be perfect. You could draw it yourself and make it perfect. You could trace something and make an exact perfect circle if you want, but it doesn't matter because in nature, nothing's perfect like that. It's perfect just because it's nature. And you see how I'm going to start cutting this little fringe, kind of grass fringe around. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this on my random circle. Even if I cut out a piece, look at this one I cut so far, it comes out. Okay, that's fine. Doesn't matter. I'm going to keep going. And for this one, I just did basically 2. Sometimes you can do 3. This is for this flower that we're doing next. And this one I did 3 circles in different sizes. This one I did 2 circles in different sizes. You can kind of tell the difference of how much fuller this one is than this one, but it's totally up to you. And I'm going to do one more like this. And I'm going to make the fringe again all the way around, making sure not to cut all the way through the circle. I'm thinking about who am I going to give my May Day basket to? Who's getting this awesome surprise? So once you get this and you have all the fringe, you're going to kind of just take it and almost pinch to the center like I did here. And that's your first part, right? I just kind of pinched the back. Do you see that? Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the smaller piece. That's going to go in on top of it. So I have 2 pieces that were both kind of random circles that I cut fringe, and I'm going to attach them together. So now take your glue, your liquid glue, your glue gun, your glue stick, whatever you have going, whatever's doing the attaching, and you're going to stick another piece right in the center like that. Now it is cool to kind of crinkle up your petals, almost give them a more natural feel rather than letting them be so straight and perfect. It kind of adds a little bit to kind of crinkle a little, just randomly. There's no perfect way of this. And just kind of crinkling. Look at how cute already my flower is. Now for my center, I'm just going to take a piece of scrap. Like I have some yellow scrap right here. Take a piece like this. And I'm literally going to crinkle it into a little wad of paper, something just like this. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to add a little glue in the center, and I'm just going to stick that little bad boy in there. And hello, gorgeous flower. Look at this. Oh, minus my glue. Gorgeous. Look how cute that is. Okay, and you can always remember, fluff them off, get them how you want it to look, even afterwards. So this was the first flower that we made, that we did in white, and I showed you how to add the color. And then this is our second flower. And then I have one more flower I want to show you before we finish, and then I need to show you the cones. We have one more. The last flower is simply taking any kind of scrap, white or color, just make a circle, and you'll take the circle. You literally just, and you see, this is not a perfect circle, people. You see this? You do not try to be a perfectionist, okay? It doesn't matter. You're just making something a rounded kind of shape. And I'm going to take the same thing, make that flap where I just kind of cut into it. I'm going to stick a little dab of glue right on one side, and I'm going to overlap them so I kind of almost have a coned piece of paper like this, okay, something like that. And these ones are fun to make a bunch of them, small, almost like little clusters of flowers. Why is my glue gun not going on? There it is. So that's fun. You can do little clusters. And then maybe I'll take, some scrap right here. I'm going to cut off just that piece like that. Same thing. Maybe just do a cool little crinkle, 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 crinkle. Nothing fancy. Just a cool, what in the world? Just a cool little wad of paper. And same thing, I'm going to take my glue gun or my glue stick or my liquid glue and just go ahead and put a little dab right in the center. Also, beautiful little flower. So far we have all 3 of these. We have this more like rose lily type thing. We have this kind of cool daisy type thing. And then we have this cute little almost poppy style kind of flower. Okay, so we've made 3 different kinds of flowers. Now, of course, could you attach these and make some kind of sculpture with flowers instead of, maybe you just want to take, a cool piece of cardboard, like old cardboard or something you recycled, and make some beautiful arrangement with your flowers, 100% you can. But right now what I'm going to do is show you what you can do for May Day. Now this is just from, I actually had brown craft paper, but you can use an old, like a grocery store bag, a brown paper bag, a lunch paper bag. You can use a regular piece of paper. You can use a plain old piece of paper and make a cone with this too, okay? So for this one right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my cone. So I'm going to take part of my brown paper bag type paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and I kind of start the cone in my hand like this. There's a few ways you can do this. One, you can take it like this, and if you have a stapler, you can literally just kind of pinch the bottom, take a staple, boom, and you have it and you're good. You can also trim the top if you're like me and you want it to be a certain way, or you have a piece of paper still sticking out. Maybe take another staple and go ahead and attach it. Here's a beautiful cone already. Okay, so that's one cone. You can also take it and glue it. So if you have, you know what I should do is show it on a regular piece of paper, I guess, too, for those of you who don't have a brown paper bag or something. So if you have a regular piece of paper, same thing. You're just going to roll it. You start with like kind of this point where you want to have this like kind of tip like a cone. Roll your paper into a cone. You can take your glue and glue it and paper clip it to dry, or if you have a glue gun, you can just attach it like this. You could take a stapler and staple it, but you made that same kind of cone. Because I have this shape, I want to kind of straighten it out, so I might trim off top of it so I have this pretty cone like this, okay? But it's the same thing. So you make a cone with your paper, any kind of paper, newspaper, whatever. And then you're going to take either hole punch. If you have a hole punch, that works great. If you don't, you can obviously carefully, with an adult's help or an older sibling's help, poke a hole through your paper, like a little hole like this. You can easily do that too. So I'm going to do that first because not everyone has a hole punch. And then you take some yarn, an old shoelace. Literally, you could take dental floss, whatever you have. If you don't have any twine or yarn or something like that, an old shoelace, then I recommend just leaving the cone as is and just leaving it on someone's doorstep. If you want to and you want to have yarn and you want to pop it through, you can easily pop it through like this. Make a little knot on one end. I like to make a little knot on the one side like this. And then when I pull it, it gets stuck in there. And I'm going to do the same thing. This way, my outside of my cone doesn't show all of my creating secrets. I kind of have it hidden in there. So now I have a cone ready to go. And at this point, if you had gone out and did a cool kind of scavenger hunt of different kinds of greens and dandelions and fun, made a little arrangement. You see, I just put a little rubber band around the bottom, and I would stick that into my cone, and there you go. I'm ready to go. Look how cute. Hello. Happy May Day, people. Now, if you want to, and you're going to make the cone like on our hanging one like this too, same thing, but I did use a hole punch on this. So if I was to use the hole punch, I would, where's my other cone? Oops, I forgot I had flowers in there. Oh, this one I already did it on. This one I literally just, same thing, instead of poking the holes, I just took my hole punch, and then I also, same thing, took my twine or yarn and tied little knots so that I could hang it like so. All right, and then I put my flowers in. Now, before we finish, I do want to show you how to attach the pencils or sticks or whatever you have going. So if I want to put something on this flower on the bottom so that I can put it into my cone, I would just take a twig or a stick, okay, something like this would work, okay, I found a little stick outside, and there is definitely hold time on this, so what I've been doing is I just take a glob of glue, and I just stick it on there, and then because I'm lazy, I just kind of lean it up on something, like see that, I'm going to lean it there until it dries. Can you see that? Ms.A. is lazy. Lazy lady. Or if you're using an old pencil, let me grab one actually. No, I have no other old pencils left. There we go. Here's one. So I have an old pencil, And I want to take this and I want to attach it maybe to this flower. Same thing. Just take some glue. Remember, glue stick on this part does work, but you might need to tape it for this. Liquid glue and glue stick are going to work best for this. But of course, even with liquid glue, well, definitely with liquid glue, it's going to take longer to dry. So you might want to find something like I did to let it sit and dry. Just lean it so you can do the lazy way. Oops, that one wasn't even set yet. Do you see that? Look at that. Dink. I'm going to let it dry more. Lazy lady. All right, so I'm letting those dry. And, or wire, or an old, like I said, a paper clip that you can unfold. But you do, or even tape. You can put anything on it. So also really quickly, let's make a tag. So my tag is just going to be out of a scrap piece of paper. You can do it any way you like. I'm just going to make mine just a cute shape like this. I might take some black marker and go around the edge just to make it look cuter. And you write something like, you know, Happy May Day on it. Maybe I'm going to write Happy May Day. Or I love you, whatever it is. Whatever your little message is. Happy May Day. Okay. Cute. I put oh, that's supposed to be an exclamation. It didn't really look like one, but it is. And then you can poke a little hole or hole punch, something like that. And you can also attach something like this onto your cute cone. So I'm going to punch one other hole. I'm going to cut a really small little string that I'm going to attach these two pieces together. Okay. So that they know, hey, those were really for me. That was, someone cares about me. Someone loves me. It's a nice little kind of gesture anyway. And it's a fun tradition, fun folklore. And when you look it up, like I've celebrated it my whole life, but when you look it up, it's actually cute, like to find all the interesting facts on it. So I put a little note on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and start sticking in my flowers, my 3D flowers. Remember, they're not flat. They can be seen from height, length, and width, all different dimensions. No matter what you glued them on, just stick those little cool flowers in there. You know, you can kind of, oh, that guy went all the way down. You can kind of arrange them however you like. Move them around. Maybe I'm going to take this guy. Maybe I'm going to even add him in there too now. Look at this. So cute. Like if this was on my door, I'd start crying. Literally. Oh boy. Anyway, so cute. So I'm going to make sure all those little glue lines are off. Anyway, so this is what we made today. We made a May Day flower basket or flower cone. We made I showed you how to make 3 different 3-dimensional flowers. Don't forget to add the greenery too. You can add green. And guys, if you want to bring these to other people, obviously it takes a little while to make some of these flowers. So if you want, don't forget, you can easily make a cute cone and very quickly and just go in your yard and make a sweet little scavenger hunt of some, like these are for my tiger lilies, these are for my evergreens. These are some ferns that I have. I actually didn't want to pick the ferns because I love ferns, but I just picked a few little ones that were probably going to get picked later. Even some little twigs, just throw some sticks in there, whatever you got going. This one, same kind of thing. I made my cone. Can you decorate the cone? Could you color it? Could you write your little note on the cone? Of course you can. This one I have all different kinds of little flowers and sticks and twigs that I put into. So you can also make ones and do some weeding in your yard for your family. And go ahead and bring some flowers over to people. Surprise them with a nice May Day gesture. Okay? So happy May Day. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip the camera right now so that I can say goodbye to you. And hopefully you are on your way to making flowers. I would love to see what everybody did. Oh, this is dangerous because I almost popped my phone out. Careful, Ms.A. Okay. All right, guys. So remember, you're going to go ahead and surprise someone with a nice gesture for May Day. And even look it up. It's actually very super interesting. Now you know how to make 3D flowers. You can also do 3D sculptures with the flowers. Attach them to old cereal boxes and different things and make beautiful kind of things. Maybe make a cute flower wreath for your head, like a cute little accessory. Anyway, have a great day. Go out in the sunshine. I'm glad that you're here with me creating art. Have a great weekend. I miss you guys, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Go create.